Good morning. All right. Let's look at these patterns. It's craziness. I think the current few days takes the analogy of schizophrenic to a new level. And so I've never seen anything like this. Not to this extent as far as a down move like that, an inside day and a back up to new all-time highs. But it's an example of the benefit of the doubt going to the trend versus an individual candle. So new all-time highs. It's up a little bit this morning, as you can see where my cursor is, 250. So usually these numbers, the half numbers, the whole numbers tend to be psychological sticking points. And since the Russell made such a run yesterday and it's gapping up, historically, something like this doesn't go very far. I mean, it certainly could, but it would require probably some time going sideways. It doesn't mean it's going to go down much. It just means that if you're going to trade the indices, probably the ones that underperformed would be better ones to pick to play what we call catch up. That weekly chart, I mean, to reverse a red bar of that size the next week, I mean, it doesn't look odd. I think, assuming it closes like this on Friday, and we look at it um, in as we go out maybe a month from now or whatever, um, you know, it probably would look normal. You'd have to go back and actually look at the size of the bars. I mean, this one got turned around, but at least it was a consolidation week, and then it went up, and it was near this resistance. So we'll see where this ends on Friday. It's up here in this crazy market. It could be a topping tail. That's just talking. But look, if it closes like that, a 2 bar reversal, it says it's going higher. Um, and it's up a lot from here to here. Um, but we got to go with the trend. And now that we've got this big down bar that formed, it gives us a very clear reference point not to be violated. When was the last time the Russell led the markets all the way to new highs? Well, don't quote me, but I would say, now I didn't take it to new highs, that's for sure. But it began to lead the way higher in 2003. And I remember that because after prices went down after the high in 2000, March of 2000, and the NASDAQ went down 95%, decimalization had become, you know, all in, so to speak. The change was made and stocks moved very little. They were beaten down so much and didn't make sense to trade them anymore. And so I started trading the S&P futures at that time. I believe it was 2003. And I've said the story in the green room before, but it was more of a contrarian indicator of, just throwing in the towel as to, look, these stocks won't move anymore. They're beaten down. It's frustrating. And so the futures would move. And lo and behold, the Russell 2000 started in advance. So I don't know about leading to new all-time highs. It usually isn't the case because they're more speculative issues. And the market, the Qs and the spiders having moved up as much as they have, and the talk has been for an awful long time with the Russell that they're undervalued. They did nothing. You can see over here in 2023, right? 2003, 2023. And so we're talking a lot of years since what I was talking about before. And so they looked like they were going higher here. They look great. Remember that the end of last year, and then they collapsed, And here we are again, and a greater than 100% retracement in a relatively short amount of time. And so that retracement concept also suggests a stall. And looking at this price data here, it's erratic and whippy. Now, like with everything that we're looking at recently, these last few days, it's erratic and whippy. And most times, meaningful moves do not occur from patterns like this, meaning this reversal could has started some kind of a reversal, but the meaningful moves happen after some consolidation of this crazy price action where things, I'll use the terminology, they tighten up. Go to the website and go to the blog under my name and read where I wrote about tight versus loose. This is loose. This is insanity. This is, this was the surprise on Friday that dropped the markets. And then, we had this resting day. And then you remember things opened lower when China came out with another comment. And then yesterday afternoon, just before the close, it doesn't look like much. It was over here, right? Just before the close, there was another comment, and prices sold off pretty quickly. And as you can see now, they've recovered again. So the underlying message here is that, hey, if the world comes to an end, buy more. So uh, let's take a look at other markets. But the diamonds have been the laggard. So when we talk about playing catch up, this is consolidating. It's got plenty of resistance there. That really isn't attractive. The spiders, they got room up into this minor resistance. However, when we look at, this chart, well, this would be our initial look at where prices may stall. The idea of neutralizing areas. Right? So like this area here, right? That area, prices traded above and back down below. So this was something that, as I looked at charts many, many years ago, was like, I look at all of this congestion over here and the concept of minor resistance, and I could see prices just pushing up through this. And so how do you rationalize that when, the technical analysis books talk about this congestion being resistance and so on? And so it comes from this kind of violent move that creates the void and prices having previously traded above it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to ignore this as a reference point. See right here, this happened during the trading day. These bluish areas happen during the nighttime hours, which they're lower volume. So the ones that are in the white areas, like here and here, they're more meaningful as reference points, but it's just a pivot. And it came down and it went up. It's not like a long base that's there. So while I've marked this off, this has the potential to continue to move higher. Now, you can see the red area there on the daily time frame. And so prices are gapping just above that bar. And we'll see how they consolidate or not. Here's the 5-minute chart. It's just kind of holding there to see what it's going to do with the open. But based on yesterday, maybe a little bit of back and forth would be healthy before the next attempt to go higher. The Qs, there were other earnings reports out, banks, and they holding things up. Now, I think the Qs have the best potential. They've underperformed. And their earnings, all these big earnings, they come in, I think, another couple of weeks. But I think this is a bad tick right here. But we'll look at the futures. So this is moving up above. You can see the area on the intraday chart and the daily chart. So this, I think, has the best potential for a catch-up trade, for this to move higher up into this area. That pivot is a decent amount away, and 610-ish and so on. So this looks the best to potentially move up today since it underperformed yesterday. Let's take a look at the futures right here. S&Ps. You're going to see the same, of course, but so there's the S&Ps, cleared these highs, got room to go up. There's the Qs. So there's overnight. See, the bluish area is overnight. And while futures traders are going to look at that as a reference point and it's stalled there, it's less meaningful than the ones that happen during the trading day because there's just more volume. And the rest of the world is looking at this if they're looking at an intraday chart, because this doesn't exist on the Qs during the trading day. And clearly it existed overnight when it sold off, but you get what I mean. All right. Gold is up again, just relentless. Now it's getting extended. See the distance from the 20, getting a wide bar on the weekly. No sign of turning lower yet. The Russell inching its way higher to new highs. And the Qs stall there. Oil is up a little bit, and then the downtrend broken down. Looks like it's going to go lower. Silver up, but inside that day. So things kind of stalled here after yesterday's big day up. Bitcoin down quite a bit, but still above this support area. So as we look to the left, it's like, okay, and look, 11,000 came off of that low. It needs to retest it on here. And I think this is a good place for it to stabilize, an obvious place, and we'll see if it can make a turn to turn back up again. We're looking at GBTC and all the others that trade with it, put spreads under this area, and so on. SPX, just double check these numbers. Yesterday's top number was touched with that rally. Just at the end of the day, it was 66.80, and you can see the top of that bar right there. It doesn't happen very often, but with common sense, something turns and it's rising like it's a rocket lifting up. You got to wait for some kind of a turn, and there were turns yesterday. As like right here, it started to, but it had a little breakout failure on a different day. And I think this is one of the things that trips up not patterns, but traders, because we all look at things and we want that consistency, meaning I saw that pattern before. It should do it again. Okay, agreed. But the other part is it's got to trigger by violating some support. And this never did. It continued to go higher. And then at the end of the day here, it pivoted and it pivoted. And over here in the room, I was saying, okay, this is like it's going to go down. And I even mentioned the Qs because they were the weaker. Oh, I have this on 24 hours. But over here, you can see it was pivoting and chopping around there, and it wouldn't go down. It wouldn't go down. And then the news came out. Right? Some other news, China said something, and it collapsed down to support. It's crazy. News-driven markets are always crazy. And lastly, I'm going to look at, before I turn it over to Dan, is interest rates, which are down. They're coming down to support, and it'll be interesting to see what they do, whether they hold here or they keep dropping. And you want to, if they continue to drop, the home builders have gotten pounded down. Maybe they begin to stabilize. We'll see what they do. And so it'll be another wait and see. First thing at the open. I mean, the banks just soared. can see like another crazy pattern, regional banks, moving down like that and then negating that big nasty bar. But this is into resistance. So, we'll just have to see how that handles that. Trump said he would stop selling cooking oil to China. Well, they'll just boil down the animals. Do some crazy stuff there. Let's hope this craziness stops around the world. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. They'll never stop. They'll just be something else. Like seriously, when can you point back in the history in the last, our memorable lifetime, the last 30 years, and say, no, everything's peaceful, nothing to worry about. Always something to worry about. Yeah. Alarms, like always. Well, um, we shorted some 3.5 puts yesterday, gapping up. That's good. Rocket Man, I have as a put spread. It's gapping over the entry because I said the entry can be just over the closing price because it's already triggered. So that'll be fine if we get filled. ACHC is a buy setup. We got a couple buy setups. This one looks like it's gapping over the entry, and let me put it here in this chart to watch it be open. Medtronic is another buy setup. DHR, another buy setup. But those alarms didn't go off. Fermi up alarm. These energy stocks are running again. And then the Aqua. It's just that's what we're in right now. The nuclear energy and the materials. There's climos everywhere. AI alarm. It's a little bottoming pattern. I like the 180 with an inside bar. Let me set my alarm higher now. Just set it up to 1948. Another put spread also. Jeffries, Climo, up alarm. All right, so that one, we got to decide how do you want to enter 5-minute high. I mean, pullback, obviously, pullback into the gap area and reversal is always the easiest. Neo, we're long now. So I had an alarm go off. Looks like it came back down. Nothing to do. And then silver, we're long in the ETF ladder. Up alarm went off again. It's been an amazing trade. Yeah, a gold silver also. It's climbos everywhere. But there's no entry yet. No entry. Silver trading over 50 made an all-time high. It's a climb on, but we need a pattern on the daily to enter. Those are all the alarms. Let's go to earnings. Big mess. Hancock Holdings, no interest. Asmel 1033. Gap's too big, but pre-market is bullish. BAC 5250. Gap's too big. That's a monster gap for Bank of America. But I got zero pattern, nothing to do, so I'm just gonna delete it. 162. That's a big gap too. But you need a pullback. But I have other things more ripe. Now this is like a headache pattern. Overlapping bars. Gap into 128. call spread watch, but I doubt there's gonna be any premium. Aggressive, ugly gap. Another traits like a headache. Look at these overlapping bars. I got no bias now. PLD 118, gap on the top of the range, no interest. So nothing here in earnings so far. My PNC. I was hoping this would open flat, and then I was going to give it as a long because this is a nice 3-bar turn after a climb at the 200 at major support. But gas was no good. I was tempted to sell puts on this. I think the 170s or whatever, but I didn't. I didn't do any earnings periods yesterday. Synchrony, another. It's a regional bank, 71. No pattern. CFG, 53. The best case scenario, put spread on a pullback. Another regional, FHN. That's a breakout. But look at the pattern. I don't even feel like wasting my time monitoring it. I got plenty of others. So let's show you those others. Amgen is better. Sam's been watching this for us. So here's your flag pole, and here's your flag. So it's a bull flag. On the daily, the weekly is a bull 1, 2, 3. So Sam, that's a 1, 2, 3. So don't forget. I hope you made that $100 transfer yesterday. Manpower, yes. Manpower. That is not a 1, 2, 3 because that's a red bar. However, it's okay to interpret the bullish meaning of them the same. It's just that the intradays are going to be very different looking, but they're both very bullish. All right, so Amgen's on my list. I got an alarm. TKO, that's on Sam's list. And it's a bear 1, 2, 3, 4, but it has to take out these lows, and then it has a void. So I just set an alarm and don't worry about it. BAP, Sam's list, breakdown. SMR 48, maybe put spread, but yesterday's bar was wild. Look at the range. It went all most of the Wednesday, went all the way to Monday's low. And then came roaring back. But put spread idea if there's anything. Bye-bye. It's close to being a 1, 2, 3. But a little tail up there. I'd like to see if it can chop around for another day or two and hold the upper 40%. So I want it to stay above, let's call it 840 and chop around a few more bars. Weekly's at this prior high, but monthly has room to 12. So that one to me is worth watching, whereas a bunch of those earnings mess is not. Oklo 185, another gapper in the nuclear spot. So it came out of a consolidation, but these are going to be call spreads one of these days. And I'll show you a few that are kind of ripe. Walmart daily. Yeah, that's a freaking igniting bar. Look, that, the entries on things yesterday were 30-minute highs. I don't know if that tail is real, but you could have bought that yesterday over this red bar. This second 15-minute bar was your entry. but it's too big, but it's bullish daily, weekly, monthly. So it's worth that one, worth watching. Sure, it's worth watching. Omer, I have no idea what this stock does, and look at that. It's gapping up, 200%. And maybe it's one of these mineral stocks, because that's what a lot of these things have been doing. Crazy gaps when Trump says he's going to take an interest in them. But I'm not wasting my time watching it. Dollar Tree reaffirmed guidance. That's a monster gas. That's a beautiful 15-minute chart close yesterday. But nothing to do with it. Pizza, I saw some news that somebody's talking about bringing them private. Hey, nice bottoming pattern on the monthly. APEI, there was some news about the government shutdown hurting them. So it's gapping under this green bar at 30-minute low, could be a day trade short and also call spread. Bungie and ADM, something was going on. That's a put spread on a pullback. Bravo Golf. Same with ADM. Both of these look good for put spreads on pullbacks. PG, ADM, run spot run. I like as a put spread. This is a 180 and a 123. So that's a 3-bar. You got 2 patterns within 3 bars. So that's bullish. Solar. NVA exploded yesterday. Now Don, I would have loved for this thing to gap up $10-15 today. And then that would have been a beautiful call spread gap and crap. But another one that's cooked. Now, I don't know what Dragonfly Energy does, other than I can read the word energy. But this has the footprint of a nuclear power stuff. Exploded, pulled back, sloppy turn, bullish weekly, monthly. So problem is it's gapping up too much. AISP, it's kind of interesting. It's a buy setup, but when you get deep retracements on a buy setup, they're still buyable. You just don't expect a new high. So that I'm gonna watch. Put that in a little window. BJRI. This was on our list yesterday. I got many more to go over here, but we ran out of time. This is a beautiful bottoming pattern. Beautiful. You had a false breakout, but now you got a breakdown failure with a 180. Beautiful bottoming pattern here. XYL alarm. Did I post this one? I forget. If so, let's wait for 5-minute high. No, I did not post this one. I don't know why. I should have. All right, so fine. I'll just yeah, maybe I was unsure about the reward to risk, because this is a retracement from a kind of a rounded square top, but I'll set an alarm at 147.50. I shorted puts on it myself yesterday. Yeah, I got filled on a number of things when the market had that little kind of nervous pullback. AI alarm. This could be a 30-minute high. I'm sure I checked puts yesterday, but let me check again. Hey, YUM is moving, but I think it's extended. The entry was yesterday. 1850s for tomorrow, or 6 cents by 21. So no interest there. Yum. Yeah, see, we missed our entry. That was another one. We should have done 30-minute high yesterday. Look at that reversal bar. So, you know, BJRI's restaurant also. So look at that powerful. Yeah, my alarm just went off on Oracle actually. I wouldn't say it's looking good, but I would say I feel better about our put spread. Like when you say good, that means I might want to buy it right now, and I don't. But yeah, it's we can tighten the stop. And let me check what the credit is now. So new alarm 210, new low alarm 300. EVLV up alarm. Nice. This was on probation. So let me move stop here now. 818. I already did yesterday, so we're in good shape there. Just set a new higher alarm. 816, 830. Jeffries, nah, I'm not going to chase this. Let's wait for a pullback. And then this other one, ACHC. That's a go. 5-minute high over 25.20. Let's do over 25.21. Or actually, if it did it hit cleanly. ACHC. Yeah. So I guess I'll post that one. It triggered. But if you're not in it, I would wait for the 5-minute high on this ACHC, but it triggered, so I got to post it. 25, 21. I'll go, yeah, I'll reset the alarm. I'll enter it. 25, 22 alarm. Oracle. We have a 285s. Yeah, I might do the same. 285. It's $1.01. So if you got out break even, you did good. Well, the 90. Yeah. So you got out 10 cents ago. All right, so good for you. All right, ACHC is triggering here a second time around. Mister. See, Greg, we were talking about no potent reversal, so Mister is relative weakness now. Plug up alarm. I have 3 positions on this. I got a covered call. I got puts for Friday and I got a put spread for next week. I'm up nicely on my puts for Friday. GTX is trail stopping out. That was a short. But at a profit. That's our only short position. So we are out. Left. Yeah, I prefer it to close like this. To prove that it's gonna be strong. Yeah, DHR, I did post this one. My alarm, yeah, my alarm did go off. All right, so Qs are the weakest here, continuing the breakdown, but yesterday's high 15-minute chart is going to be support, minor support. So that's where it should hold. And Diamond's IWM are back to their old tricks of going in tandem. 207.37.